a mobile photo studio tent used during the American Civil War, circa 1860s. Field photographers like these captured thousands of wartime portraits for soldiers and families. 15 officers posing on the deck of a Union ironclad, photographed sometime between 1861 and 1865. Behind them stands the armored turret of a Monitor-type warship, a revolutionary design in naval warfare during the American Civil War. An abandoned campsite from the American Civil War, photographed by Matthew Brady between 1860 and 1865. In the foreground, a soldier is crouched down, with tents and makeshift survival structures visible behind him. Perched above the Battle of Antietam in 1862, this signal station stands atop a hill. Built from logs, the lookout point reveals how communication shaped the war. Soldiers sent life or death messages using flag signals that pierced the silence. This 1862 photograph shows a field hospital at Savage Station, Virginia. But here, the word hospital is reduced to just a few tents. Hundreds of soldiers lying on the ground aren't receiving treatment, only holding on to hope. Medical supplies are nearly non-existent, and pain relief is almost entirely absent. Union soldiers take cover on the west bank of the Rappahannock River in Fredericksburg, Virginia. The photo was taken between April 29th and May 2nd, 1863. June 1st, 1861, Irish-American soldiers from the 69th Infantry Regiment of the New York State Militia attend Sunday morning Mass at Fort Corcoran in Arlington Heights, Virginia. Led by Father Thomas H. Mooney, this Catholic service offers a rare glimpse into pre-battle camp life during the early days of the war. Circa 1862, 10 13-inch mortars, each weighing 20,000 pounds, are positioned at Battery No. 4 near Yorktown. These massive weapons highlight the powerful role of artillery batteries during the siege of Yorktown in Virginia. Yorktown, Virginia. 8 Confederate soldiers take position among sandbags in an artillery emplacement, while another sits on the wreckage of an overturned cannon. Toward the end of the Civil War, little remains of Richmond, Virginia, the Confederate capital reduced to rubble. People wander through the charred ruins of burned-out buildings, revealing the devastation the war brought to cities and civilians alike. During the siege of Yorktown, Confederate earthworks and artillery positions are reinforced with sandbags. In the distance, at the top right, 6 soldiers pose around a cannon. After the Battle of Bull Run, captured Union soldiers are held at Castle Pinckney in Charleston, South Carolina. As the prisoners gather in the courtyard below, Confederate guards watch them from the upper battlements. Confederate artillerymen are positioned along the defensive line at Gloucester Point, Virginia. In the foreground, 2 soldiers stand by a heavy cannon while warships are visible in the background on the York River. In a sprawling camp in northern Virginia, rows of tents and a drilling infantry regiment can be seen. The photo was likely taken in 1861 at Camp Northumberland near Washington. Confederate trenches in Atlanta, Georgia. This 1864 photograph reveals detailed artillery positions and defensive structures used during the city's fortifications. A bomb shelter built on the outskirts of Atlanta, Georgia. In this 1864 image, soldiers are positioned both inside and atop the trenches, bracing for the destructive force of war. Union soldiers stand in formation in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This 1863 photograph captures troops in battle readiness, with a destroyed structure visible in the background. Black soldiers of the Union Army's Native Guard Regiment at Port Hudson, Louisiana. Taken between 1862 and 1864, this photograph shows the men standing at parade rest position. After being exchanged as prisoners of war, officers of the 19th Iowa Infantry Regiment are seen in this photograph taken in New Orleans. Date: July 1865. At Fort Sanders in Knoxville, Tennessee, Colonel Orlando M. Poe and Orville E. Babcock stand amid war-ravaged terrain. The photograph was taken by George N. Barnard between 1861 and 1865. Taken in 1862 at General Lafayette's headquarters, this photograph shows individuals who had escaped slavery, then referred to as Contrabands. It documents the process by which African Americans seeking freedom were sheltered within military zones during the Civil War. Considered one of the earliest photographs of the Union Army during the American Civil War, this image was taken around 1861. It captures artillerymen preparing for battle. The captured Confederate ironclad CSS Atlanta is seen on the James River in June 1863 after being seized by Union forces. The photograph was taken by Matthew Brady. Abraham Lincoln, marked with a red arrow, is seen arriving at the dedication ceremony for the National Cemetery at Gettysburg on November 19, 1863. This moment was captured shortly before his famous Gettysburg Address. Crew members of the USS Wissahickon pose beside a cannon on the ship's deck. Taken around 1863, this photograph reflects the naval strength of the Union fleet during the Civil War. Ponder House in Atlanta, Georgia, was damaged by heavy artillery fire during the bombardments of fall 1864. This photograph reveals the lasting impact of General Sherman's siege of Atlanta on the city. The ruins of the Hacksaw Mills in Richmond, Virginia, were reduced to rubble by heavy bombardment in the final days of the Civil War. Taken in April 1865, this photograph documents what remained of the burning Confederate capital. In April 1865, soldiers wait outside the Appomattox Courthouse for the final order. As the surrender negotiations marking the official end of the Civil War unfold inside, a historic silence hangs over the scene. On April 19, 1865, Abraham Lincoln's funeral procession moves along Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C. Assassinated just 5 days earlier, the president is laid to rest only 10 days after the end of the Civil War. A group of soldiers surrounds a mortar mounted on a small railroad car. This image, taken during the American Civil War, circa 1861 to 1865, illustrates how mobile artillery units were transported. The rail cars in the background likely carry ammunition or military supplies. Taken around 1862 to 1863 in Northern Virginia, this photograph captures military railroad operations during the Civil War. Workers are seen using large levers to loosen railway tracks, a vital task for the rapid movement of troops and supplies. In the background, rail cars marked Pennsylvania Railroad symbolize the strength of the era's transportation infrastructure. This photograph was taken in 1865, the final year of the American Civil War. The wrecked locomotive at the Richmond and Petersburg Railroad Depot stands as a striking example of the war's devastating impact on transportation infrastructure. Trains were often targeted, burned, or bombed to cripple military logistics. Men are seen inspecting the damaged engine, while the ruined building in the background underscores the scale of destruction. This image, taken in 1862, shows Confederate trenches in the Manassas region of Virginia. The rudimentary fortifications are reinforced with timber, protected by buried logs, and a covering of straw. At the center of the photograph, one soldier wears a uniform with a blue skirt, while another man examines a map. This photograph was taken on the battlefield of Bull Run, site of one of the first major land battles of the American Civil War. It shows the ruins of the Henry family home, which bore witness to the war's devastating impact. The house is nearly completely destroyed, with only a small portion still standing. During the American Civil War, sailors are seen sitting in a small boat along the banks of the James River. In the distance, the twin-turreted ironclad USS Onondaga symbolizes the Union Navy's dominance on the waterways. This emotional photograph features a hero of the American Civil War, a horse that survived 18 battles. The writing on the image introduces him as Colonel, the Old Vet, survivor of 18 battles. Taken in 1880, the photo stands not just as a tribute to an animal, but as a monument to a spirit weathered by war, yet still standing.